Hey, what's up, you guys? WWE fan 0599 here again. And today we're going to review Dirty Grandpa. Dirty Grandpa stars Zac Efron, Robert De Niro, Zoe Dutch, Aubrey Plaza, and Julianne Hough. And what this film is about, it's about Zac Efron. He has to take his grandpa, played by Robert De Niro, on a road trip after his wife died, who was Zac Efron's grandma, and he finds out that Robert De Niro isn't the grandpa that he thought he was. So, what did I think of Dirty Grandpa? This is the worst comedy since Jack and Jill. This movie is awful. This movie is terrible. Everything about this movie is awful. I couldn't stand Dirty Grandpa. So let's get into my positives. There's no positives. None. None whatsoever. I couldn't stand this movie. There's no positives. Let's get right into my negatives. Because my negatives, oh boy. I have a lot of negatives with this movie. First, the acting. The acting is so atrocious in this movie. It's terrible. Some of the worst I've ever seen in a comedy or in a movie in general. Zac Efron is awful in this. I mean, he plays... by the way, everybody plays a pathetic human being. Like a pathetic lowlife. I'm being honest. Everybody plays a pathetic lowlife in this movie. Zac Efron, he plays this like lawyer type grandson. He's terrible. He's awful in this movie. This might be the worst I've ever seen him. And you know what? I've been giving Zac Efron another chance lately. You know, he's been pretty good in some other movies lately, but man, he's terrible in this movie. He's awful. I couldn't stand him in this movie. Robert De Niro. He's awful in this. He gives the worst performance of his career. This is almost as bad as Kevin James as Paul Blart. I'm not kidding. Or Josh Gad in Pixels. Or even Johnny Depp as Mordecai. I'm being serious. This performance, this is terrible. All he is an obnoxious, foul-mouthed grandpa. That's all he is. And we're supposed to find this funny. Some of the jokes he's given, it's terrible. Robert De Niro, what were you doing? Oh, just why? You're one of the greatest actors to ever lived. And you're in this movie. Why, man? Just why? Zoe Dutch, she's awful in this. She's terrible. She plays an annoying hippie. She's terrible. I really could not stand her character. Aubrey Plaza, oh my goodness. She is so annoying in this movie. She really is. She is terrible in this movie. Every time she spoke a word, you're just like, what? Look, you just cannot believe some of the stuff she says. She's terrible in this. She's probably maybe the worst. No, we'll get into what's the worst character. But man, Julianne Hough, she's terrible as well. I couldn't stand her. She's just a clingy, annoying girl. Like, she's getting married to Zac Efron, and man, you're just like, why are you marrying her? Oh my goodness, like, I want to rip my hair out some parts with her. You got Pam, the drug dealer. I don't know the actor that plays him, but he's by far the worst character in this movie. He really is. He's the worst character in this movie. He's literally in almost every scene. You cannot go away from him. You really can't. And he's terrible. I hated this character. He's the worst character of the year so far. He's terrible. Every time I want to punch this guy. Every time I saw him. The two cops. Oh my gosh, the two cops. They are terrible. Oh my goodness. Let's get into the comedy. What comedy? What comedy? There's nothing funny about this movie. There's some things that you're just wondering, like, they're expecting me to laugh at this? I'm gonna just say this one scene. Fuzzy Bunny. Not Fuzzy Bunny, Fuzzy Bee. That's all I'm going to say. That scene, I was just like, oh my goodness, how are you supposed to make me laugh at this? I almost shut the movie. I almost walked out of the movie because of that scene. That scene was just too awful. It's the worst scene in the movie. Just the comedy is terrible with this movie. It really is. Oh my gosh. The logic. There's no logic whatsoever in this film. I'm going to just say this. There's a scene that involves the two cops and the drug dealer. You are like, this is not making any sense. What? I literally was losing my mind because of what happened in that scene. There's no logic to this movie whatsoever. Oh my goodness. The writing is horrible. Some of the worst I've ever seen in a film. The writing's terrible with this movie. The directing is awful. The directing is terrible with this movie. The pacing is awful. Oh my goodness, this movie would not end. It was so boring. This movie would not end. It just kept going and going and going even slower and even slower. Just trying to, it's like being stabbed with the knife. Just, they're not going fast, they're going slow, and oh my goodness, that's what this movie felt like. Guys, Dirty Grandpa is terrible. It's one of the worst comedies I've ever seen in my life. It's the worst R-rated comedy I've ever seen. If there's a movie that's worse than this, God help us all, basically, if there's a movie worse than this. Guys, Dirty Grandpa is terrible. It's the worst comedy since Jack and Jill. Guys, Dirty Grandpa gets an F. An F. 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 This movie. Ugh. I could not stand Dirty Grandpa. Robert De Niro. Do something. You need to do... I don't care if you have to make a Godfather Part 4. You need to redeem yourself after this. You really do. Please. Okay. I'm gonna calm down now. So what do you guys think of Dirty Grandpa? Leave in the comment section below. I'm WWE Fan 0599, and we'll see you all later. Peace. This movie broke me.